everybody, Beardo Dude here, back with the second part to our how to edit your save file series for Stoneshard. Today we are going to look at the last remaining items that I have researched and going to let you in on, so stay tuned. Disclaimer. Editing your save file is highly discouraged by the development team for Stoneshard, and they will not be held responsible if your game saves become corrupted by following my guide. Additionally, make sure to follow the steps and advice in my video to ensure smooth changes without any problems. Editing the save file can be tricky, especially if you're not familiar with programming, so take that under advisement. I also want to add that I did get the blessings from the development team to make this video. They feel that since so many people are already editing their save files, that it's not a big deal to actually provide a tutorial on how to do so, especially to spice things up in the game as we wait for further development. This version works with the latest update from Bolt Thrower 0.5.9.4, but is obviously subject to change in the future, so keep that in mind while viewing this video. Additionally, if any of you have any questions about what's in the video, or if you're getting errors, if you're having issues following the guide, feel free to reach out to me on Discord by the same name, Beardo Dude. I actively participate on the Stoneshard Discord, so you should be able to find me there. So on to the video. Alright guys, so we're going to get into it. The first piece we're going to look at is the infinite enchantment scroll charge. Now it's a little misleading. It's not legitimately infinite, but it will seem infinite, and it's actually pretty useful. The way the enchantment mechanics work right now, if you're going to try to cycle through and not just stick with the first one you've got, you basically have to continuously reload the game from whatever save spot that you're at. It's very time consuming, and at that point a lot of people would say just go ahead and create, go edit the save file. But in this case, you can actually, if you still want to keep the whole mechanic working, what you can do is alter the save scroll that you have to have basically 10,000 charges on it. So we're starting out with Jonah because she gets an enchantment scroll. It's part of her default inventory when she starts. So once you go and save, her save file will be created. And as I showed in the previous video, which definitely going to have that in the description, also probably add a card, you'll go AppData with the percentage signs in between it, go back, go to local, go down to Stoneshard, characters, and this is where all your save data is basically. So we just created the new Jonah. You can see she just popped up from when we're working on it. So we'll open up her save file. And here's NotePad++, which we discussed in the previous video. So if you haven't watched it, definitely go and watch that, at least the beginning portion, because I will explain the tools that I'm using and how I'm getting to this stuff. So what you can do, the easiest way, is Control F. Then type in enchantment. I think you can type in Enchantment Scroll. And so you want to watch. Oh, okay, so basically we found the enchantment scroll that is in our inventory. You can see it here. If we go to the inventory, we'll see which one it is. Lockpicks, enchantment scroll. So here's what we're looking at. There's, all the metadata associated with them. You don't need to worry about that. What you're going to worry about is this number 5 value. So what we'll do is we're going to scroll all the way over until we see that number 1. That 1 represents basically the number of charges. Don't go and look at the other data. It's misleading, the max charge and all that. So for this instance, we'll do 10,000. That seems like a pretty good number. I don't think you'd need to do more than that. So you save. Then we'll go back. Load. And now we have our enchantment scroll, and for the sake of it, we'll do the worn cloak. So you see, I used it, but it's still there. So you can use this to cycle through enchants until you get one that you like. If you don't really want to break the immersion of the game, because obviously if you have this, you could just go in and enchant everything you have. There's nothing stopping you. Typically what I'll do is I'll have that, but I won't use it unless I find an enchantment scroll in the dungeon. So this is just a placeholder until they've got a better system in place for enchantments. It's going to come further down the line. They're going to rework basically how enchantments work, the cursed items, and there's also going to be, I believe, holy items, which I'm not sure how they'll work, probably opposite of cursed items. But yeah, so this is one thing that you can do to just kind of a quality of life thing with the game until they update the system, which I will, if any of these tips that I've given in the first or second video break in the next update, I'll be sure to update everybody on how to go get around them. Number 2, playing as Verren. So in the last video, I showed you how you could change the class of your character. So if you were Jonah, you could be the Berserker. If you were Derwin, you could be the Sorcerer or Sorceress. You can use this same idea to make one of the characters into Verren. So if you were, as I'm about to start a new series, play as Verren the Pyromancer, basically just go in, create a character for the class that you want Verren to play in. So in this instance, we already did. For demonstration purposes, it works out. We've got Jonah here. So again, we're going to go to her save file, which we already have pulled up. Now, there's a number of changes that you'll need to make, and I will note all of them in the description. But just for the sake of ease, you will probably want to open your original Verren file. You can use one of the autosaves. It's not a big deal. So from here, what I typically do is I'll do show in JSON viewer. So now we can see the different, basically the different things related to Verren that will need to be changed to have it show up, have Jonah basically show up as Verren. So you can kind of go top from bottom, or from top to bottom. The first one being the corpse sprite. So you can search for any of these the same as you have been doing. So corpse sprite. As Jonah dead, we see as player dead. That's why you have to be careful, because you might go, oh, well, I'll just put Verren's name. Not the case. So obviously we want Verren to be male, so the sex key will be changed. So those are 2 down. So we'll just scroll down. Name key. Name key you will want to keep in the same regard as the actual character name. So in here it's Jonah. We'll type in Verren. Going down, the next one is going to be the head. So again, you can just type in head. And from here we see it says Jonah head. On here, it's Verren head. And you can play around with each of these on your own to see the effect of changing them. The only one you're not going to want to change is the player class, which we're getting closer to. So going down, race key, so he's human. You could change it if you wanted. If you want him to be a dwarf, I think you can do that. Class key. This is the one that you don't want to change. If you change this, he will not start with whatever beginner skill or trait. So with Jonah, she has the one that gives extra magic power. With Jorgrim, he has the Berserker Rage, those different things. So leave class key alone. So we'll keep scrolling down, looking avatar. So you'll want to change the avatar, which is going to be the picture that you see. So it says Verren, and again, be careful because this one is in lowercase. The next is the body sprite. So we'll want that to be male. And I believe that is all that you need to change. So now if we save the game, we go back and we load, you can see now I am Verren. And if you go in and save the game, not only will you see Verren here, which I will pull up his character sheet, you can see he's listed as a runaway sorceress. I think you can actually change how that's written. I didn't mess with it too much because I didn't want to break it for the video, but you can see she has Verren, he has the arcane lore trait. This also does unlock if you want to use the relic seeker trait, which Verren has, but it's not really that great. It's like a 1% chance on each turn to identify an unidentified item. I think arcane lore, berserker rage, any of those is going to be much better than Verren's starting point. So if, like I said, if we go in and we save, and then we go to load the game, now you can see Verren. So we'll go back to Jonah, go to the character map. We see it's listed as Jonah. We can change it to, you know, Verren, Pyromage, whatever you want to call them. Save it, go to load. Now it says Verren. So there's absolutely no confusion when you're loading up the game and you're looking for him. Obviously be careful if you're doing permadeath runs. If you die, you'll have to repeat the whole process before you can start again. Number 3, resetting graves and camp chests. So you might come across an instance where maybe you do want to do the horrible task of basically continuously loading and going to grave to try to save scum the graves to get one of the epic items such as the pig face bassinet, the Vagabond Knight Armor, the Decorated Warhammer, any of those. It's going to be a pain, but let's say you just, when you first play through, you cleared out the grave site, and you're kind of pissed about it, because now you wanted to go back, and you wanted to try again, try the save scumming. There is a way in which you can reset the graves in the game. I'm going to show an example of a field grave that I used to get the Elven Garment on our buddy Jorgrim here. As you can see, that is one of the items, rare or unique items that you can get from the grave that you cannot get from anywhere else. So you can see, obviously, I have looted this grave. So basically, nothing I can do with it. Now, you'll want to take note, if you're trying to get rid of any specific one, you'll want to take note. Otherwise, you can just go and wipe them all out. So basically, the save data for the graves is in your save file. So we'll go to Jorgrim here. And normally you might think loot markers. It's actually in the container save file. And we haven't looked at this one yet, so we'll pull it up. As before, do show JSON. So you can see all the different containers. And a lot of these are the graves and also the campsites. So in this instance, we want to do a specific one. You could just go through and wipe out every single grave. And if you do that, then that will reset all of them. If you see any on here, basically the idea is when you open it and you go save, the container file will update with the location. I'm not really sure what the numbers exactly signify or how they relate back. Could be coordinates. I didn't really play around with it too much. So in this instance, we're wanting just to do a specific one. So we look and we see we have a skull. Wait, let me move that out the way. We have skull, pelvic bone, bone, and bone foot. What you could do is just go through here. So we see this has bone foot, bone, rib cage, and skull. We do not have rib cage, we have pelvic bone. Scroll down. This one has 4. Bone, foot, bone, pelvic bone, skull. So 470. We'll try this one. So you can make it a little bit bigger. We'll do control F, grave 470. It'll take us there. And so from here, you'll start from this quote and you'll just scroll over. Try to be careful. We see grave 470. The next will be catacombs 01, enter mid. So we'll just scroll over. We'll start seeing the other ones. There's the pelvic bone. And I believe the skull will be the last one that we see. Skull. So just be kind of careful as you're scrolling it on over here. Name skull. Almost there. There we go. Catacombs. So make sure you have that all highlighted. Hit delete. Just make sure you didn't get anything you weren't supposed to. There should definitely be a comma and the double quotes that will lead into the next container. So from there, just save. We'll go back. We'll load. And as we run up here, we should find that the grave is untouched. Yep. So you can see it looks as if nobody has dug there, so we'll just go ahead and while I'm talking I'll dig into it. So this is just kind of a nice way if you want to reset any of the graves. I do kind of just recommend just go through and reset all of them if you are going to do this. The same could be done with the camp chests. I'll show you those as well. Same idea. If you put an item in there and you search for it, so let's say you have the map, would probably be a good one to do. So you can see we got the same stuff, but you won't. It's mostly just based on chance. So there's a good chance we would have gotten the same ones. So if we go load, I'll show you the camp chest as well. So in this example, we'll go in. We have the map. We'll throw the map in there. We'll save. We go back to the file. File has been updated. We say sure. Then control F for map. And there we go. We see, we might do quote map. There we go. So now we see the map. Not 100% which container it's in. So we'll go back. And what's this? Deer pelt. Which is that what we have in here? Yeah, so we have a deer pelt. You can have 2 items in there. If you have just the one, it's the same. It's fine. So it's the same idea. In this case, it's just going to be a number. It's not going to say grave or anything like that. So just go from the beginning of the number, scroll over. We'll see deer pelt. Then we see the map, scroll. Now we've gone a little bit too far because we see the catacombs. So go there, delete. And we should be good to go. Make sure there's only that single space. So we'll save, load. Although I just realized we lost our map, but that's okay just for the testing purposes. Now you can see it's like nobody's ever been in there. I don't actually have a lockpick, and now we destroyed it, so that's probably not good. But you can see it's locked once again, and you can go and unlock it, and it will do the random roll, and you'll see what you get. Number 4, resetting contracts. So this one I see pretty often listed. People are impatient, waiting for their next contract to show up. So we will go through and I will give you a demonstration of how you can do this as well. It's basically two variables that you'll need to change to get it to work. So we're going to go check the village elder on my Arna roll here, Mace's Shields. We completed most of the contracts. We still had one left, but there will be an open slot here. If we go talk to him, we'll see, okay, his mysterious disappearances, but nothing else. So let's say, just for the sake of it, because we're wanting to be bold with it, we want to get where we go and rescue our old friend Mr. Drunk Rickard, because he will give us the heraldic note. He is the emissary. The quest is called something about rescuing the emissary. So we will, I think it's captured emissary. That's what it is. So go and look. Let's make sure we get our, I think I had this one open, maybe not. We'll go to her file. She's Arna 3. We'll go edit. We did have hers open. So again, go show JSON viewer. It will reload and show us her data. From here, what you're going to look for is the contracts list here. And this is going to include pretty much every potential contract that you can get outside of the task-oriented or like scripted ones. These will be all the dungeon ones. So we can see if we wanted to, this one has something to do with the peasant. I think you can, I don't know if they actually have the name associated with it here, but you can kind of go through if there's any you want. Necromancer boss staff, that's going to be the crypt. Bandit kingpin. You can kind of look. So here, save NPC, ONPC MSR. So the main values that you're going to want to change is active and is generate. If those both are set to 1, then you will be able to go in and reactivate the quest. If not, it takes, I believe, 3 to 4 days. Less so in the Manshire. But we'll go Bandit Kingpin because we know that's gonna probably proc first when we do our search. So yeah, village rep fail -500. That's pretty bad. So now I see boss type, and you can kind of use the show JSON viewer on the side to help you navigate and find what you're looking for. So is active. We'll change this to 1. We'll continue to scroll over. You can just skip it and do is complete if you wanted to do that. But that's generally not what you're going to want to do in this case. So you can also scroll over until we find is generate. Save that one. Then we'll go reload her file. And we'll run back over there and we'll check. There's probably some randomized algorithm that checks what the day is and then picks one at random, as long as it's not one of the other, dungeons that are currently active. There's no way to definitely get one or the other. So we'll go. Now we see captive emissary is possible to do, and we'll do that on my next live stream. That's all for today, so thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. There's tons of videos like this if you check the playlist that says Stoneshard game updates, lore, and other info and tutorials. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you see when my videos come out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.